My name is Cecile Neepoose. I'm from Pigeon Lake, Alberta. I was born and raised on a reserve, and I have a spiritual name, Wekaskokseno, meaning old man sweetgrass. I've been powwowing for quite a few years. Since I was a young man, I started singing at the drum with my cousins. We had a family drum group, and eventually it was called Pigeon Lake Singers. And we started traveling, and I started knowing more about the way I lived, understanding what I do, understanding why I do it. And the more I understood, the more closer I got with my connection with the drum and the spirit of dance. And I started dancing. I've been dancing about 30, somewhat close to 40 years now. And I dance traditional, men's traditional. I used to start off with dancing the old style in Topwat Shimon. That's what they used to call it. Just a powwow dancer, kind of a chicken dancer. But back in the day, we didn't have no bustle. We just had beadwork and the good roach, bells. That was the only way a man dressed at that time, because they were warriors, they were the hunters, they were the protectors of their people, and that was a symbol that I was introduced to. And later on in years, I find out that there was more dancers coming in with feathers, and then I questioned a few of my people that I used to dance with, more or less my mentors. And I had a long talk with late Walter Bull. He was one of the champion dancers. He was my mentor. He showed me a lot of ways, so I kind of switched to traditional dancing. He got me a set of bustles. And that's the man that introduced me to it, and we started dancing. I started dancing with him, and then finally there was another man I met that wanted to adopt me into their family, which is Jim Claremont from Twin Cities. He lives in Twin Cities. He's from South Dakota. And then another brother adopted me, Kenny Merrick Sr. He's from the North Dakota. So I have two brothers that were Sioux. And their story and their version of the traditional dance was the warrior dance. Like similar to the story that I heard the first time when I started dancing. Then I switched, and then the same story my brothers told me, the Sioux brothers, is that these were warrior dances. People that were out to battle. Back in the day, there was a lot of controversy between the non-native people and native people, and more so on the state side. There was a lot of battles going on, and that's how they were recognized as protectors of the nation. They were up front. Whatever battle that was coming on, they were up in forefront. And to add on to that, their story, it is very unique the way they told me, because my story, my history of dancing connects with that traditional dance, because the spirit, when I do these ceremonies, I do ceremonies in the sweat lodge. I do all these things, and then that connection, there's a spirit to that, and it's called the powwow spirit. And all these elements that we use, The powwow spirit is the keeper of all those elements that we carry, the feathers, the bells, the beads are even, there's a spirit in these beads. Everything we have, the spirit of porcupine, the spirit of feathers, all these things are all connected. And I was very blessed to know these people, because today I'm considered an elder because I'm 74 years. I'll be 74 this year, and I think about that, and I think about my grandkids. I got to tell my story. I've been telling a few already to my grandchildren, the story of this powwow, how it originated back long time ago. They told us the story. This old man, he said there was a couple back in the day, in the early 1800s. There was no powwow in the Cree people. There was no powwow. Then one day, this couple, these two, man and wife, had a little boy. He grew up a little bit. Then all of a sudden, something happened to that little boy. He passed away. And there was no powwow at that time. There was nothing. So they used to go up on this hill to mourn. That cut his hair. They stayed up there. Early in the morning, they go up there. And early at night, at evening, they go up and every morning. That one morning, they went up. As soon as they were tired, fell asleep. As soon as he fell asleep, the spirit, the thunderbird being coming, flying from the east, landed where this man was laying. Then he turned into a man, an old man. He told him, "Grandson, I want you to come with me. I want to show you something. I want to take you to a place." So they went walking this room with the hills. They were going up and down these hills, and all of a sudden, these new bigger hills, they were coming up. Just before they were coming up, they heard the sound, the drum. And that was the first time he heard it. He didn't know what it was. So when he got up the hill, down below the hill, there was people there. They were dancing around that drum. There were singers. They were singing real good songs, spiritual songs. They were singing. Everybody was dancing. So this is what I come to get you for. I come to show you this. I want you to have this. So they went down the hill. When they went down closer to where the drum was, there was nobody except this tall grass, just moving slowly like this. So they walked up to the drum. There's nobody there. The drum was there, half, it was painted half, blue and yellow. He said, "Come on, I want to show you another portion of this ceremony. I'll take you to another one." Then when he got up there was a big rock. There was fire going under that rock, and then there was something inside there boiling. And there was 4 people, dancers, they were standing there. They're all dressed in grass dance outfits. They were standing there. He said they had little sticks like this. And then they heard the sound of that drum sounding, and these dancers started to dance. And over there on the east side, there was 4 old men sitting there. But these dancers, they danced from 4 directions, 4 times, and then they picked up. There was a puppy inside that rock. They picked it up, little piece, 4 pieces. So they danced towards these old guys 4 times, and these old guys ate that puppy. So that's where the originality of powwow came from the puppy ceremony to the powwow. So that's the transition that took place in that vision that man had. And he was blessed, that power, that old man that came, the power spirit. Something had to be done to take that hurtful feeling, because they lost a son. So he said they went back. Just before I went to where I was laying, I woke up, and his wife was laying next to him right there, and she woke up, and she looked at his husband really strange, and the guy asked his wife, what? She said, I had a dream. An old man came, took me to a place, and she told the exact story of what that man's vision was. And that's what they took home back in the camp. They started to introduce that powwow. And that's how it started. That's the originality. The Cree version. There's a Sioux version that's similar to that same story I have. And that was the way that the Sioux people had the same. And when they started a little earlier than the Cree. So now they call that Supaman, because they thought it was just some of the people didn't really know, the Cree people didn't really know the vision or the story of that vision, so they called it Supaman, Sioux dance. That's how a lot of people interpret it that way, but we have our Cree version of the powwow. The bustle that you just saw comes from the thunderbird being. That feather is that connection with that drum. When the thunder at night, you hear it, or in the summertime, you hear that thunder. That sound is equivalent to that drum. That's where the feather came from, because the feather was given to our nations across this continent for healing. People that were struggling had to feather. And the thunderbird being in a ceremony, he gave that to this man that was doing this night lodge, the weepy ceremony. This man went up there, all worried. He didn't know what to do because there were a lot of sick people where he came from. And he asked that thunderbird, can you come and help me? And that thunderbird told him, yes, I'll give you one of my feathers. Take it down. Your people will heal. That's how that feather, that's the equivalency of that feather, is for healing. Dances were created during battle. That sneak up, when they sneak up to the enemy. That's one of the most unique style of dance, when you do the sneak up. Then when the duck and dive came, there were people that were being attacked, and they were ducking and diving. All those people, when another tribe was attacking them, there were arrows. You could see them. They duck and they dive. That's how that dance came to be. That's where it started from. And when people die, when we talk about mourning, people that are in mourning, they say, this old man, he went to battle. He told them, if something happens to me, I want you to be quiet. Don't move, just stay still. If you cry, the enemy will find you and he will kill you. That's what the mourning, when people are in mourning, that's what it represents. Mm-hmm. And those dances, they're all in one blessing for our people, so that they can survive. And we've survived over, I don't know how many hundreds of years, mm-hmm. through this ceremony, through powwow, through Sundance, through all these ceremonies we have, that's our connection. And that nobody can ever understand that until you actually go in a ceremony and you'll know exactly what to do, because your spiritual name will guide you through your journey, powwow or ceremony. For First Nations people, kids, to grow up that way, because I grew up that way. I grew up in a ceremonial way of life. And my powwow is my life. And when kids see that, there's a lot of them out there that are craving to know these things, to know their culture, to know their identity, who they are, and what's their connection. I think that's very important, to know that, for them to know that, because they have to, in the future, there will be their turn to carry on that cultural teaching, that way of life. That's why it's very important for them to learn, to go out there and give protocol, give tobacco, whatever, to elders. Ask them questions. That's where their guidance will be. Pretty soon they'll have a mentor that will guide them through.